Hi everybody, it's Casey Williams. If you had told me 10 years ago that the car staying behind me would be possible, I never would have believed it. It's the first $100,000 Hyundai built product. It's also Motor Trend's 2023 Car of the Year. It's the Genesis G90. Let's go have a look at it. When you're creating a brand new automaker, as Genesis has become over the last several years, you have an opportunity to reinterpret, kind of traditional design cues and to create something really unique and different. You're not beholden to the past. And I really think what Genesis has done with this car is really nice. There's some things that really carry to other Genesis models, connected to the old G90, but also some things really new and innovative. I like the front. This is the Genesis grille with the crosshatch. Looks really nice, looks really sporty. Definitely wide and big and in your face when you're looking at front on. But there's also things like, the twin strings of LED headlamps. They're just very nicely connected to the body. I like this. I like how they're in. They're all flush. Looks really pretty. And when you start looking at the sheet metal, there's some other really nice things. Just this curve and this line that kind of creates a little tension up the hood. Really pretty. I like the lights here as well. Hidden door handles. Lock them, they go flush. And they come out so you can open the doors. The doors also are self-closing. Very easy too. I'll show you in a second. There's some buttons inside so you can close the doors even from the inside. But again, I really like this rear end. Again, this is, their $100,000 flagship sedan to compete with the Mercedes S-Class, BMW 7 Series, those cars. So, it really needs to have some gravitas, it needs to look expensive and have some presence when it rolls up to the valet stand. And this one I think really does. But, I really like these lines. I like this. I like this satin silver here. Gives it kind of a formal look, but also sporty at the same time. Almost kind of Bentley-ish, and I think it works really well for it. Again, you got the seal panel coming back into the trunk back here. Again, a little bit of a Bentley look to it. Same with the tail lamps kind of wrapped around. Nice, very pretty. Power trunk. There's not huge amounts of space in here, but there's enough space for 2 to 3 people to get their luggage in here and get away for a week. I thought we'd start in the back because I think that's probably where a lot of owners are going to end up riding most of the time anyway. Sitting back here, I really like this a lot, of course. The rear seats, they both recline. This one on the right side actually has a footrest that comes up. The front seat can go forward so you can actually kick your shoes off and just relax straight up if you want to. And some of the things I really like about this too, and again, you got power controls here for the seats. You've got a button press so you can move that from the control panel here. And then it's got redundant infotainment controls back here so you can control the audio from the rear. These seats are heated, they're ventilated, they've got massagers in them. You've also got mirrors here, little makeup mirrors. Check yourself before you hit the red carpet. Sunroof in the back. Also power shades, so if you want to sit back here on your laptop and work and not have the sun glaring on you, you can put those up. The rear sunshade the same way, or if you just want to see you don't want people seeing who you are. But I sat back here. I actually had the power out at my house the other day, so you use the phone charger, use the Wi-Fi hotspot, sat with my laptop and worked for a couple hours. Actually the most comfortable offices I've ever been in. So it's, again, just a really nice, comfortable place to ride. And on that note, I think I'm going to. As much as I would enjoy riding the back seat of the Genesis G90, I've got to tell you, driving it is a whole much better experience for me. I really enjoy driving this car. And in fact, this week I just looked for opportunities to get on the highway, just settle in, and then just drive it mile after mile after mile. And again, I think a lot of owners are going to do that too. This is a car you can get in and drive 1,000 miles and be just supremely comfortable in it. And it really starts with just the ambiance and the way the car looks and feels. It does feel like a $100,000 car inside. You got sustainable wood. It's etched on the doors. You got the stitched uppers here on the dashboard, contrasting colors. The Napa leather seats. This is really expensive feeling leather. The seats in the front, they're heated, they're ventilated. You got massagers in them, all kinds of different programs for the massagers. That's very nice. The driver gets a heated leather wrapped steering wheel. And it's, even the steering wheel is just a work of art. I just like the way it's done. I like the stitching here in the center. I like the contrasting color here with the panel here. It's not real leather, but it feels like real leather in the steering wheel. Beautiful. The other thing that Hyundai Kia have done in Genesis 2 is their twin screen arrangements. Something Mercedes started several years ago, but Hyundai, Kia, Genesis have done a very nice job integrating it. So this is really just one big flat panel across here, 2 screens, one for the instrument cluster, one for infotainment, and these little blades come up here too to adjust the lighting and to open the trunk. But I think it just looks really good, works really well. Above all that, you've got a head-up display for navigation. It's projected out there, safety system projected out, and of course your speed. So that's all. It looks like it's kind of hovering over the hood. But back here to the console, you've got automatic climate control, touch screens. Down here in the center, Nice deep cup holders, phone charger here, phone charging pad. And this is just a little bit confusing, but not terribly confusing. You've got a rotary dial for the gear selector here, park in the middle. Next to that is the infotainment dial. It's very similar to the one in the back console that I showed you a second ago. But you use this to control that screen. You can also touch that if you want to. But I think it works relatively well. The only thing is sometimes when you're driving, you're kind of looking down, feeling, and it's like you gotta be careful that you're getting the right one. But that's okay, it works. These are the controls for the heated and ventilated seats right here in the middle. Drive mode selector. This has a sport mode that stiffens up the air suspension a little bit when you're on the highway. And you got parking cameras here too. These are the buttons to close the doors. You also got buttons here to close the door. But all this has worked really well. One of the things a couple of things I think are really cool. When you got the sunroof, of course, I like the, just back to the soft kind of suede feel of the headliner. But some other things this has a 26 speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system. It sounds incredible. I've been listening to everything from Loretta Lynn to opera to you name it in this car this week. All just sounds absolutely great. I think this is a little much to try to use all the time. There are some redundant buttons down below, so you can get to the radio nav, media here. You can also get some of those from these buttons too, so you don't have to scroll through the screen. But one thing that is really cool, there is a mood curator, and it will adjust the lighting, the sound, even the scent of the car and the massage seats for vitality, delight, care, and comfort. So different moods, depending on how you're feeling, you can actually configure this car to fit your mood. One thing this car also has too is a lot of safety systems on advanced safety systems. It does pretty much everything but full hands-off driving. So this has adaptive cruise control that keep you a safe speed on the highway. It's got lane keep assist. It's got lane tracing steering, so you can hit the cruise, keep your hands on here. Unlike a lot of the systems, this one does the lane tracing even if you're not in adaptive cruise control mode. So you can still modulate the throttle and brakes and still have that feature on the highway just to kind of get your hands loosely off the steering wheel just a little bit and the car drive a bit. Some other safety systems, of course, blind spot warning, lane keep assist, rear cross path detection, has rear seat monitors so you can't leave the kids back there, and it has safe exit assist. And this is a system that uses the blind spot monitors to keep you from stepping into traffic. So really a comprehensive array of safety systems on this car too. Let me get the door closed first. I love that. That's really cool. Absolutely unnecessary, but still really cool. And I like the gear selector. I think it works out pretty well too. So we have the upgraded G90, and this one has the 3.5 liter V6, but it has an electric supercharger in it. So it delivers 409 horsepower and 405 pound-feet of torque. The car has all-wheel drive as well, so you can get power to the pavement and get down the road. No question about that. It has an 8-speed automatic transmission, shifts really smooth, real cleanly, and it's just really a delightful car to drive. Like I said earlier, it has an air suspension system on it. You can put it in sport mode. I've got it in comfort right now, and in comfort mode it just wafts down the highway, like a big Mercedes S-Class, almost like a Cadillac used to a little bit. But it's also controlled. You put the car in the corner, it doesn't just heave over, but just a nice waft down the highway. You put it in sport mode, stiffens it up, stiffens up the steering, even stiffens up your seats a little bit. It'll kind of cant them in and kind of hold you in the seats a little bit more. I like that too. And with the seats, it also does that they're speed sensitive. So if you're just kind of cruising through town, the side bolsters open up, the cushions kind of lower down a little bit. And then when you get on the highway and you get above a certain speed, it'll tighten those cushions and kind of dip you down in the seat so you're all snuggled in and ready for driving. But I really like the way that works. I think it's very nice. Fuel economy for a car with that much horsepower and as big as this is really isn't terrible. 17 miles per gallon in the city, 24 on the highway. Again, if you want something, gets really good fuel economy, go buy a hybrid or an electric car. But given something that's got 409 horsepower and a supercharged V6, I think that's pretty nice. But overall, like I said, I drove this car quite a bit this week. A lot of highway time, a lot of city time, and just an absolute delight to drive, no matter where it was. So the question you have now is, what is the price of this car? I told you a little bit at the beginning. So the G90 starts at $88,400. This one, fully equipped, $100,370. That is a lot of money for a Genesis. But I think if you drive the car, I think you're going to think it's worth that much money. It is certainly on par with that. But if you're looking for a car with a lot more prestige, maybe Genesis isn't quite there yet, and you might be better served by buying that BMW Mercedes. But if you're okay with the Genesis brand, and I am perfectly okay with the Genesis brand, I like all their cars, I think you'd really think it's worth it, and you owe yourself a drive in it. Well, next week we'll have another fun car. Until then, storm forward.